What is going on, you guys? My name is Rage and we are back today with another Dark Dimension 5 video guide and playthrough for you all. We are now starting this next stage here in being the Cosmic Node, so let's dive into my roster real quickly, showing the gear level upgrades, so forth of the 5 characters, and then dive into the gameplay. So starting things off, an absolute no-brainer if you can get your hands on Kestrel, one of the best characters hands down in the game, and the fact that she utilizes tech and skill gear definitely makes her one of the better picks to bring up to Dark Dimension 5, given the heavy material requirements here. As you can see, spared no expense on upgrading her, and I do like using Raider on her, just given the additional attacks and strikes with the additional vulnerability as well. Next up, we do have Phyla-Vell, and this was a little bit of an X factor for me, but I really like the protection that she can bring. She has a cleanse overall, and she actually does some really decent damage. The fact that she has Striker is going to allow her to actually do a double strike, and you're going to see that with the rest of the team having that synergy. Next up, we're going to have the combination here of the Eternals, and I think if you guys can get your hands on the Eternals and bringing them up for Dark Dimension 5, it's honestly going to be a night and day experience, especially with some of the waves you're going to see. Just having the combination of the two of them and being able to provide their offensive output, the fact that Cersei can cleanse, Icarus has a powerful flip ability that can actually strip away all positive buffs and turns that to our advantage. So I think it's just absolutely huge to have both these powerful characters in your arsenal. And then last but not least, Star-Lord T'Challa is the last character here, rounding out the rest. I really like the fact that he actually has some good supportive capabilities. He's a really fast character in the game overall. He can actually apply a blind and got some really decent damage, as well as increasing his buffs due to his adjacent allies being with him next door. So there you guys have it. Those are the 5 characters I am bringing. So now that said, let's dive right into the gameplay here. Team placement wise, guys, I highly recommend putting T'Challa in between Cersei and Icarus, just because there's going to be a lot of benefits and buffs coming from them, as well as putting Kestrel on the side, because even if Phyla-Vell falls, at least Kestrel is going to get that protection, being at the very far end from adjacent attacks. So starting things off, it's going to be pretty slow here at first, just because there's not actually a lot of carnage just yet. And as shown here, anytime you get a chance to use Icarus's ultimate, definitely do so, because it's going to do a couple things, right? It's going to reduce their speed meter. Right from the beginning, we are actually going to be aiming for that right cluster. We have to be very aware of Falcon, the fact that he can provide speed up. His ultimate's pretty strong too. But then combinating that attack with Cersei and reducing the turn meter again. And you can just see how straightforward this node really is in the beginning, especially all these combo attacks happening. And, you know, really big reason I like Kestrel is for all those passive attacks. Even despite the fact that Phoenix goes ahead and uses those abilities, that's not going to bother us, because we're going to go ahead and finish her off. We don't mind seeing the Dark Phoenix anyways, because we can definitely take that damage overall. So in doing so, she's going to not be able to even launch because of the fact that we have Kestrel's passive too. So that's a really key reason, guys. If you're having tricky or difficulties going through this node initially, highly recommend being Kestrel. As you can see, Dark Phoenix wasn't even an issue, couldn't even get summoned due to the fact that we have that passive being active here. Just gonna fast forward to save you guys a bit of time here. You can see not an issue whatsoever. We took down Anti-Venom, we took down Loki, and you want to leave Dr. Octopus because he's tanky, and as well you can start generating energy here in terms of the basic attacks, preparing for the next wave. Now, this is going to get a little bit more dangerous in this next wave, but fortunately, still only a couple characters that we are up against. You can see we're going to be up against a combination here of X-Factor, as well as the symbiotes, but then they also get additional members once you give it some time to load here. So, first and foremost, we have to take care of the Carnages, just due to the fact they're going to get a speed increase whenever our HP goes down, and especially in Dark Dimension, it's going to be dangerous. I actually landed the stun on Polaris there just to kind of slow things down here, and that way she can't add disruption to our ability. But once again, if you get a chance, always try to do as much damage as you can with Icarus, trying aiming for the Carnages at the very beginning here. Afterwards, depending on who's weak, I just go ahead and actually clean up and finish up Polaris here, just because she's already stunned, and then go ahead as well to resume damage on, slowing down one of the symbiotes, or as well as the other Carnage, just because we want to make sure they're not utilizing synergies. Also, keep in mind that Anti-Venom can actually revive too, so someone we have to be aware of, especially when he can bring back the previously Carnage that we already took down. There we go, and you should be able to clear a lot of the symbiotes there. Unfortunately, my Kestrel did get brought down quite a bit with her sensitive HP. She is squishier than the majority of my team here, but if you're able to blind and slow things down, you're able to. As you can see, the Anti-Venom actually brought back the other Anti-Venom, so you gotta be very careful here because with them having the revives, it can definitely become an issue, but fortunately, they don't do a lot of damage, which works well for us because we can definitely take our time once we take them down slowly and then get the damage out of the way, and then once again kind of build up energy in preparation for the next wave. I go ahead and just finish off Shatterstar, and then at that point, you can really kind of take your time here. I would finish off, obviously, Long Shot, or just to get him out of the way, and then afterwards, we can definitely just focus on Anti-Venom with basic attacks. And this is going to be another devastating wave that comes. Pretty dangerous if you're not careful, but that's why we actually built up energy, because we can start things off with some potential damage from Icarus. And again, it's very, very smooth, guys, if you have the Eternals. I don't actually know how difficult this could be if you don't have them, just because their manipulation of the turn meter, the fact that we have synergies and can flip negative buffs to our advantage, and especially eliminating Carnage at the very beginning of these nodes, it's going to make it a really streamlined experience. And you can see how easily we're just running through these guys, as well having Phyla-Vel providing barrier, offense down, so forth. Just having those supportive capabilities is absolutely huge for us. So in this case now, with this wave, I would actually focus on taking down the squishier enemies like Vulture and as well as Polaris. They always are easier to get out of the way, and leaving tankier characters like Rhino as well as Dr. Octopus at the very end gives us an opportunity to build up energy, which is really nice too. Now, once again, a beautiful opportunity to utilize Icarus's ultimate. As you can see, just the amount of devastating damage you can do, all those bleeds, all those negatives getting inflicted. And then as well, this is the second last wave, so we just have to be mindful of the last wave. But you're going to see that I actually do fall. It's going to take me 2 attempts because I did get a little overconfident here. But just continue to stay in the course here, guys, and keep managing the waves here, inflicting the negatives and doing work. I would, again, at this point, if those initial 2 are down, I would focus on taking down the squishier enemies like Shocker, as well as get Goblin out of the way so you can leave tankier guys here, so that way we build up energy. Now, for me, unfortunately, it didn't go that way just because more of the damage was actually inflicted on the other 2. So you can see here, at 8 out of 26 enemies, it is actually going to spawn the last wave. And this is kind of not what I was expecting, but I was still in a pretty good position in the sense that, you know, Green Goblin isn't that powerful anyways. But this last wave here that comes out is extremely powerful, as you'll see. So it's, again, a mixture of a symbiote with Falcon that's going to provide speed up. And then they also have remnants of the Dad Brothers here, too. So, right, again, similar strategy to the earlier waves. You know, focus on the squishier enemies like Falcon and Carnage. Get them out of the way because they are squishier, and the fact that you know, they can leverage turn meter and speed meter against us. That's why we really want to do focus on them. And then next up, now that Falcon's down, try to use the Wakanda T'Challa here if you're able to actually utilize his blind here to prevent some damage, because they can still do quite a bit of damage even despite how powerful our characters are. Yeah, for instance, you're going to see how fast T'Challa actually falls. Just like that, boom, he goes down. Carnage activates his ultimate on my Kestrel, but these guys are just going to have like a burst of damage. And you're either going to survive it or you're not. If you continue staying the course, you may be able to finish it with a one-shot attempt, but I slowly recognized that as I was doing the damage here, that it was slowly falling, unfortunately, to the downside for me. And you'll see it here, right here. This ability almost just completely wipes out Kestrel and then does finish the job. So that's what I mean. Then that became my objective here, having both the Eternals still and Phyla. I could at least aim for getting Carnage down, so that way my second attempt, I can definitely finish the job here, right? Because if you have to leave remnants of the symbiotes, that's okay, but just try to take down Carnage, because he is the one that's going to be providing the turn meter and speed meter to the rest of the symbiotes. And I do have one of the Dad Brothers taken down now too, so that takes away half their full strength. And then, unfortunately, before long, yeah, they do actually go ahead and finish me off, but I thankfully was able to take down Carnage, so this puts me in a great spot for the second attempt here. Now, starting things off, you guys have Icarus, obviously a no-brainer here. Activate the ultimate to actually reduce their turn meter, so that way we do have some advantage here in terms of controlling them. Next up, we're going to try and focus on Symbiote Spider-Man, just due to the fact that he's got a stun and he can extend negative conditions. So he is pretty squishy as well. So taking him out at least is going to give us a little bit more flexibility, and especially going through these waves. There we go. And next up, I do recommend taking down Scream if you can, just because she's also really squishy, and getting her out of the way at this point is just going to leave 2 tanks, and as well as having Shatterstar here. So at this point, pretty smooth sailing. Try to utilize Kestrel's passive as much as you can, but at this point, I wouldn't use any abilities because we basically want to start the next node here with full strength, having both Cersei and Icarus's ultimates, and as well as having everyone else on their cooldowns. And really, at this point, you should just be left with Anti-Venom with the basic attacks. Try to get as many attacks as you can, saving up as much energy as you can, and fully restored with all energy ready to go for the next node. So, would have been nice to get the one-shot, but I mean, can't always be perfect just due to the fact that some of these waves can bring about some RNG and luck that just does not fall in your way. And just to wrap things up here by showing you guys the attempts here, 2 full attempts. Again, the initial 59 million, which made a notable impact, and that way light cleaning up of things with the 18 million there to finish things off. So there you guys have it. That's No 10 at a wrap. Thank you as always. Hope this guide's able to help, and I'll see you guys in the next one.